Did you ever get in the ring? Did you ever do any training in the ring, anything like that with wrestling?
Yeah, a little bit, and it was because I had read in the magazines when I was growing up, the Apter mags, that Gordon got in the ring and had the wrestlers put the holds on him. At least that was the story, so that he could understand what the wrestlers were feeling. So I, of course, did the same thing. And Billy Gunn was one of my trainers, believe it or not. He and I go way back to Florida as well. So it was, hey, get in the ring with me, and here's how you lock up, and here's, and what are you doing? And stop. And, I'm like, what? I don't know anything. All right, come here. Sit down. Shut up. And a lot of yelling for Billy Gunn. But that was about it. And just knew enough to know that I should never, ever wrestle. Never. Never, ever.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, Saturday nights, AXS TV, July 13th, regularly starting, but also we'll have the G1 Climax Tournament from Dallas on July 6th. This is historic, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so it's going to be a lot of great stuff with New Japan. Kevin, what makes New Japan Pro Wrestling so special?
It is, New Japan Pro Wrestling is so special because it's a throwback. It's the pure form of wrestling that I grew up watching and loving. It's about the competition in the ring. It's about the championships. It's about the matches. It's about winners and losers. And everything that happens in the ring is preeminent. But it's also the new style. So while it is a throwback, it's also the new modern innovations of wrestling with the greatest athletes in the world and a production value second to none. And to be able to present, live pro wrestling or, on New Japan World, and then have it same day, just a few hours later with first show live on AXS TV, in the States. We have the entire globe covered. So while it speaks to the roots of the territory days of wrestling for me, it's got every modern convenience that a fan could want. To me, it's the best combination of everything.
Is it that old school style that makes it different from today's American wrestling?
I think when you look at the athletes, it's every bit as physical and more than what you see in a WWE presentation. The greatest athletes that they have, let's just take, right at the top, Seth Rollins, who's just a remarkable athlete. He's every bit as athletic, and the top guys are in New Japan are every bit as athletic as he is. They also understand in New Japan that the focus is on the ring and not on everything else. There's no silly skits. There's no backstage vignettes. There's no nonsense. It is from one element to the next, to the next, to the next. And it follows, and the G1 is so perfect because it's like a real tournament. It's like a March Madness, a college basketball tournament where you have, but it's in that round-robin format. So each night, each event feeds into the next, and we also look back at what happened in the previous night's action, because everything matters. That's the biggest thing. With New Japan Pro Wrestling, everything matters. There's not a scrap of a morsel of food wasted. And people that deserve title opportunities earn title opportunities. And very few times do people go, huh? How come? Well, because there's logic. It's a logic-based presentation. It's simple, but it works. It's just logic.
How much influence has it had on today's American wrestling? I know you mentioned WWE, but there's a lot more out there. And how much influence do you think it has had on other groups?
Well, the influence of Japanese wrestling on the modern American wrestlers is massive. It cannot be understated. There were just as many wrestlers emulating Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock as there were emulating, the style and the moves of the great Japanese wrestlers, you know, whether it was Misawa or Kobashi or Tanahashi or Okada now, generationally, each great Japanese wrestler has, and their moves and their style and their presentation has had a huge influence on American wrestling. And as more fans are tuning into New Japan now, especially through AXS TV, they're able to see, oh, wow, I see the influence that an Okada might have, Tanahashi might have on a wrestler that I've seen somewhere else. So it really is that's the first. The second, and one of the things that I wish more wrestling had, but I'm kind of glad that more wrestling doesn't, is that logic-based presentation. Strip away the sports entertainment, and you've got the athletes that could do a New Japan Pro Wrestling style. But no one chooses to do it. They just choose to complicate things. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why New Japan stands apart from everyone else.
Kevin, with that, how much has social media and ways to watch help the growth of New Japan Pro Wrestling with American wrestling fans?
Well, it is a modern company, even though it is in many ways a throwback, as I said, to the territory days. And when you have the ability to watch every event live on New Japan World, and then also, if you don't want to subscribe to World and deal with that, if you just simply want to watch it on AXS TV, you got same-day presentation of the Saturday event starting on the 13th. You've got a live special on the 6th. It's tailor-made for every fan. And the idea of being able to reach across through social media and utilizing every tool in the toolbox is only going to help the product grow. It doesn't cheapen it or water it down or make it gimmicky. It just means that more people can access it, whether that's through some people may just, their first acknowledgement of New Japan could be something that they see on Twitter. Oh, I saw this GIF from I follow at New Japan World, and I saw this GIF of this amazing move. Oh my gosh, I must check this out. Where can I find it? You have no idea how many people reach out and go, I would love to watch this. How can I see this? Hey, I'm a new fan. How do I see New Japan Pro Wrestling? What should I do? How do I follow along? And it's very simple. You either you can do both, which I always recommend. Get World and be a subscriber, and then you get the whole archives and everything else. But you can see everything on Access, and you don't even need cable now for Access because it's available. So many people are cutting the cord. There's so many different ways to get it. I have it through, I have DirecTV now, and you can get it on Sling, and you can do all these different services that have AXS TV. It's right there for you, and it's just tailor-made for every generation of wrestling.